Hello, and thank you so much for dropping by this video. A warm welcome to anyone who's new. If you're new to this channel, and I'm going to post a link that'll give you a little bit more background information. And of course, a warm welcome back to everyone else. So my understanding is that life is not a linear process. I once saw a t-shirt that said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So, as a human being, I've fallen into the habit of operating based on models, anticipating what's going to happen, making plans. Now, I'm not saying models and plans are all bad, right? But, when I woke up this morning, yes, I had some things on my calendar, but if I'm really honest with myself, I have no idea I don't know what's going to happen in the next second. And yet I find myself making plans sometimes years in advance and having all these ideas that are really nothing more than a model. Now I'm not advocating not having any model, not having any plans. Like I said, I put things on my calendar. And what I'm realizing is that that's not what life is. There's a great quote I once read, and it said, the map is not the territory. The menu is not the meal. Meaning these ideas that we have, these plans that we have, they're not life, right? We can get so fixated up here. I can anyway. And then I start to think that my thoughts and my plans are life, when actually a good thought is nothing more than a compass or a push in the right direction. And so, and then a bigger picture. And then on even a bigger picture, what I'm realizing more and more is what life is really about is not just being in the moment, which you hear that a lot, but being in the moment and being guided in the moment. Of being inspired. Like, what's the next inspired action? Said a little more classically, what's God's will for me? Like, okay, God, what's next? What do you want me to do next? So, on a certain level, it's easier to live based on plan, right? Like if I just have my day scheduled, then I don't have to think about it. Then I don't have to, and by think, I mean reflect, or I don't have to tune in and say, okay, God, what's next? Okay, the force, where would you have me flow? However, it may be simpler to sort of have everything planned out, but it's really not life. It's really not inspiration. Jason wrote, at least plan to tune in. That is a must. Thank you. As I said, I'm not advocating having no plans, but what I am advocating is a certain way of life, a way of, it's how I try to live. And I'm convinced it's the life that Christ taught people how to live. And it's definitely the way of life that Bruno Groening called us to. And as many of you know, I'm a big fan of the 12 steps. And the essence of the 12 steps is how to be guided moment by moment. In fact, part of that program is to start off each day in prayer and meditation. I'm tuning in, if that's your particular practice, it is for me. And then to say a very specific prayer, asking all throughout the day to be shown what our next step is to be. It's a very powerful way to start the day. Please, God, Allah, the force, spirit, whatever you call it. People of all religions and no religion are welcome here. All throughout the day, please show me what my next step is to be. And we have to be careful. I have to be careful because I was taught some of the most horrific things about God. And so it would be hard to surrender to God and ask God to guide you if you are afraid of God. So I had to let all those ideas go and just, Bruno Groening gave such a simple definition of God, or harmony, love, life, aliveness, goodness. It's easy to say, okay, goodness, what would you have me do? So let's take a little time and receive some of that goodness into our bodies, having the intention to receive divine energy and observing your body, noticing what you feel, taking in this good energy. So what blocks us from this inspiration? Well, Bruno Groening was quite adamant that there is a God who's all good. And he was also quite adamant that there is another force, which he called Bosse. It's a German word. It means nastiness, viciousness, evil. Here's what he said: the divine power builds up, but the evil, devilish, satanic power tears down. So there's all sorts of complicated philosophies of what's good and evil. I considered becoming a philosophy major, so I dipped my toe in that world. I think I took almost 12 hours of philosophy. I came very close to having a minor in philosophy. So it's a very complicated, intricate philosophy as a whole, but the field of ethics, so many opinions, so many views. Bruno Groening makes it very simple. That which builds up, makes one or ourselves or another more robust, more healthy, more well. That's good. That which tears down, that which weakens, harms life in any form, that's evil. Very easy to understand. And Bruno said that evil's main weapon is negative thinking. So we have to, Bruno said, you must you must master your thoughts. You must muster the determination to master your thoughts. For example, I was just tuning in, really enjoying it. Have a new neighbor who is playing guitar. They haven't done that before. It started in the last week, and electric guitar, window open. I can hear it. And I started to feel frustration and irritation. And then I noticed my thinking. My thinking was, well, I'm going to go talk to him and ask him to close his window, but he probably won't. So I'll have to call the police. It started with one little thought, and it just avalanched, and I caught it very quickly. But if we don't, then the thoughts do avalanche. And that's what Bruno compared evil to a seed. You have to tear the seed out. Otherwise, it just sprouts very quickly. So let's spend a little more time taking in some more goodness. Being mindful of our thoughts. So, making this video December 21st. It's Christmas season. So here we are in the game of, so that's where we are right here today, but in the big picture, here on Earth, we're in the game of life, where there are two forces at work, good and evil. And according to Bruno Groening, we're constantly being attacked, is the word he used. Oh, I never noticed that. He used the word attacked by evil. That evil is constantly trying to drag us off the good path. From Bruno, what Bruno taught, evil isn't something that's annoying. It's vicious. And yes, it's trying to constantly harm us. Not harm us necessarily like attack us, but harm us in the sense of pull us away from God, pull us off the good path. Hence the need for tuning in, filling ourselves up with this good energy so we can be mindful of the thoughts and forever so firmly say no to any negative thought. But also why we need a spiritual helper. Bruno Groening said, I am fighting for you. Now that's something I personally, I can understand those words. Like, oh, this person's exerting effort. But he didn't say I'm exerting effort. He said I'm fighting. So it's really hard to fathom what that means. But what my heart says is it means that Bruno Groening is really vigorously endeavoring to help me and anyone who turns to him for help. And I completely convinced the same is true of Jesus, and that there are many other great beings who are available to help if people seek out their help. And a lot of these beings probably are helping whether or not people are seeking out their help. So, Bruno Groening said that Jesus Christ was humanity's greatest friend and the supreme spiritual healer. I became aware of those words 7 years ago, and I'm still struggling to humanity's greatest friend and the supreme spiritual healer. It's a very strong statement. And for me, Bruno Groening is the teacher, the being who I just have the highest respect for of any teacher that we have their sort of direct record of what they say. It's very rare to have direct record of what a spiritual teacher said. Normally it's 50, 100, 300 years later, it gets written down. In the case of Bruno Groening, we have actual recordings. We have actual videos. So I take his word very seriously, and I'm meditating it I meditate on it not all the time, but often. I think about that sentence. What does it mean? Christ is the supreme. That Christ is humanity's greatest friend and the supreme spiritual healer. Instead of sharing more, I just invite people to their own reflection on that. What did he mean? And what did Bruno Groening mean that he said he was fighting for us? Yes, thank you, Jason. He said, just to let you know, brothers and sisters, as you close the door to negativity, there will be some pushback, but be consistent in what you are doing now, and it will pass. Thank you. That has been my experience. And I think Bruno said something to that effect, but I don't have it handy, but I believe what Bruno said is once you get on the good path, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something along the effects of, don't think now that evil's going to stop. No, it's actually going to try harder. Something like that. And he also said persistent good overcomes evil. Persistent good overcomes evil. So we just have to keep striving and keep having to ask for help until we don't. Because to be free, we have to evil must be fully uprooted. And I look forward to the day when I'm completely free of all evil. Amen, alleluia. Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to begin closing down for this gathering. And so, just to tie it all up, so it's Christmas season, and that's what Bruno Groening had to say about Jesus. And I said a lot. I shared yesterday quite a bit about what Bruno taught about Jesus. And let's see if I can find that link real quick. Okay, one moment, I'll have it. Here it is. Let's see. Thank you, Nicola. Nicola wrote, I have similar experience. For 10 days, I was great with Einstein. And then for 2 days, I was so nervous and negative, almost like devil talk true to me. Yes, that's been my experience in many different ways. And Bruno Groening himself said that he had faced such great temptation that apparently he was constantly being tempted by evil. So we don't need to be afraid of evil because that just feeds the evil. But Bruno Groening said if we don't take evil seriously, it's like we're playing with it. And he said that's a very bad idea. So we need to take it seriously without fear, with faith in the good, being clear that while evil is mighty, God is almighty. So it's like respecting the power of evil, meaning taking it seriously, but simultaneously knowing, bowing to the almighty power. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. I wish everyone a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful solstice day. We'll be doing this again tomorrow. Thank you so much. Thank you for the wonderful comments, Jason and Nicola. And thank you to everyone who joined in. Take care. Much love.